Hi all, Shane here. Started my, well, when I say project, I didn't think it was going to be as much work or as hard as it has been. To some people who are into fabrication and got all the equipment for it, I suppose it's a piece of cake. But I didn't realise, I bought the brackets to go on the, I'm turning basically the Fazer, took the fairing off because I thought it's pretty ugly. It's not particularly, these bikes do about 140 miles an hour or something like that. And in the past I had a ZX10 and I was doing some quite naughty speeds on it on a regular basis, and one day I thought, well, it's only a question of time before I lose my licence or you know, have a bad accident or whatever. And I'm getting a bit old now, so I bought a speed triple to slow me down. It did work. 127 I think is the fastest I ever went on the bike, not because it wasn't capable of going any faster, I couldn't hang on to the thing because of the wind. So I got this bike and it had a fairing. My son put a double bubble type screen on it, which is under here somewhere. I'll show you the profile. Excuse the mess in my man cave. I've done it in here because that's the profile of it, of the screen what was on, covered in dead flies. I didn't expect, basically, I thought there would be a little bracket to support the clocks, the speedo, the fuel counter and the rev counter. I thought there'd be a little bracket coming off the frame somewhere, but I didn't envisage when I started this that would be a humongous framework left. It looks like a smaller version of a Land Rover Defender sort of bull bars at the front. So I'm not sure off the top of my head where my angle grinder is, because my plan, I know where there's a hacksaw, so I may have to do it manually with a hacksaw. So my plan of action is now, just for the meantime, till I can get some fancy brackets made, is to cut there, possibly underneath there, and then all this framework will come off. But the beauty of doing that is it'll allow me to put, hopefully it'll allow me to put my my lights on, which I've got a clip to the frame at the side here, the brackets have. And also, if I ever did decide to put it back to square one, how it was, at least I can get that welded back on. So that's the advantage of that. And then at some point when I can get one fabricated, I'll get another bracket made what will just clip on there, just to hold the speedo. But in the future my plan is to buy one of those latest LCD little type speedos with a rev counter and a fuel gauge. They're not that expensive. How good they are, how good a quality or reliable, I don't know yet, and no doubt it'll be a nightmare to wire it in. I'm no electrician. This will probably cause me problems, but my son fitted I think they're called Exxon lights, I'm not sure, but these are the ballasts for them. They run at a ridiculous high voltage apparently, 12 volt 55, but it goes to 12,000 volts DC according to that there. Yeah, 12,000 volts. So those I think they're called Exxon HRD ballast. Are they called HRD lights? I'm not sure, but they light up like a blue colour. But of course these lights are not being used, nor the ballast, so I'll don't know, see if he wants them or sell them on. So there we have it. Well, hopefully later on this evening I'll do another video when I've cut all that bracket off and mounted the lights. What, you know, how good it will look or whatever is unknown at this point. But sorry about the untidy background. It's my man cave. It's not very wide and I've had some struggles doing certain things because of the lack of space, but at least if it rains you don't get wet in here, and I've got good lighting everywhere. I've got electricity in here, so it'll do me. Anyway, thanks for looking so far. I'll put a part 2 at some point, just to show my progress. When I took the fairing off, I took the screen off and the mirrors and bits and bobs so I could get to various nuts and bolts. and I was totally unaware, because I've never done this before to a bike, particularly a Fazer, but I was totally unaware of the bracket for the clocks there, which unfortunately is there on the floor. I had to use my Dremel tool and cut off as much as I could, leaving enough bracket which bolts to the front of the frame to actually support the clocks. So it's a bit rough at the edges, because I don't know where my see the edge there, look where I cut, and the edge there, that's not too bad, and then I cut part of the bracket at the bottom. Sorry about the jiggery camera work, but basically this here was like that, and I thought, blimey, I didn't know about that. So I cut that off just for the meantime. I haven't bothered wiring lights or anything else. I've had enough for one night. And the clock, the way it is at the moment, it still looks pretty ugly. But it's my birthday in 2 days. What day is it today? It's Friday evening. It's my birthday Monday, so any money I get, the tooth fairy still owes me for 3 teeth as well. Maybe I'm a bit. Oh, when this is missing, when I buy a new digital clock, I'm going to buy a little digital clock with a rev counter, what goes around the outside. They're only about 40 quid. That'll be a real ball ache to wire in the rev counter and temperature gauge and all the rest of it. But you know, so that there looks a bit ugly. When I've wired the lights tomorrow, hang on a minute, turn that down. I've got the brackets on at the side, look. When I've wired the lights up and scratched my head for a while and worked out what goes where, and I'll just somehow mackle the indicators. There's holes in the side of the bracket, so with any luck I might be able to actually fit an indicator there, just for now. My son's gonna post me some mirrors, handlebar end mirrors, but failing that, I've got the caps in here, so I can put some mirrors on the handlebars, because I won't be able to ride my bike for long with no mirrors. But I'll have to ride it when I've wired it all up, and you won't see all this, hopefully. It'll look a lot neater. I've got wires and bulbs and all sorts to sort out tomorrow. But when I've sorted the wires out, and then when I've bought a new clock, which will be one day next week, then obviously all this here will come off. All that will be gone, just to be replaced with. I'll cut the bracket further down there. Yeah, I'll cut that bracket down there, and I'll get somebody just to weld a little thin one on, or put a bracket on the headstock here. Depends on how big or small the clock is. I won't know that till I get the clock, but I shall neatly try and mount the clock, or make a bracket from there to there, a little V-shaped bracket what just goes in front of the ignition, but it's got to be high enough, you know, when you sat on the bike to look forward. But yeah, when I've got all the lights wired tomorrow, and I've got the side lights, the low beam and the high beam, I've got it all working and the indicators fitted. Just for now, like I said, it won't look its best till I've put a clock on there and wired all that up, and then I'm going to attack the forks. They don't look that bad from a distance. They're not actually pitted. It's it's underneath the lacquer, so I've got to strip that, put some paint, take the wheel out, put some paint strip on the forks. I'm going to polish those, and then the wheel rims up to there, I'm going to put some paint stripper on. They do polish up nice, they do clean up nice, they're just dirty. I should do the edge of the rim here and there. That will be shiny silver when I've finished. It takes a lot of work to do that. Just little finishing touches really, and then at some point the actual bike with little bits here and little bits there, keep chipping away. It will look nice to my taste. It won't be everybody's cup of tea. I appreciate some people are going to say, oh, you're an idiot, you should have left the fairing on. I can appreciate that. Oh, I'm going to spray the mudguard, get that sprayed, because the paint's a bit thin. And the MOT's due in about a month, so I've got to make sure them lights are the right height and all working and everything, and get it through an MOT, and then bit by bit throughout the summer I'll do all the little jobs and try and tart it up and make it look more presentable. So tomorrow, all being well, I'll say all being well, you know, the lights will be working and the wiring won't be so like it looks now. Wires everywhere. So that'll be my next part 3 video tomorrow, all being well. Thanks for looking, take care everyone, catch you soon. Part 3 to my little video. The lights are a bit lower than I wanted them, but that's because that humongous bracket that I've had to cut down with the clocks on. I can't go much higher because the wires behind, what are all bunched up, catch on the headlights. So for the time being, till I've ordered my clocks and made a bracket and took all that off, all the front end there, it's just a mate to do thing. I just cut the original big bull bar brackets down, and I'm left with that, unfortunately. But I'm going to get my fingers in action later, go on the internet and order some, well, find some digital clocks first. Managed to find a little location for my indicators, they all work. I've got to get, my son is sending me a package with some bar end mirrors, and an SC project, I believe it is, end can. I'm going to give that a try because they were too loud on his Ducati. So there you go, there's the side profile of the bike, and it rides totally different with the fairing missing. I can actually do, I can do U-turns in roads and all sorts of things that I couldn't do before. Felt a bit strange for the first minute, but I must confess it feels much better as far as I'm concerned. It's a personal opinion whether you think it looks better. It will look better when the clock bracket, when the headlight brackets are higher, when they're like 50-50. Between the top and the bottom of this, when they're about another inch up, and they'll look better. And I've got to polish my forks, as I've already said, and it'll look tidier when the clocks are all missing. I shall get a neat little bracket made, and have a little clock here. Now whether it's going to be a round one or an oval one, I'm not sure, but it'll be one with a speedo, rev counter, fuel gauge, oil light, neutral light and high beam light. It will definitely be one like that. So there you have it, just to show you that everything works. I'm saying this now, it'll probably nothing will work, just my luck. Well, as you can see, that indicator, there's the headlights, and I just altered it to high beam, and here's a car. Thought I picked a peaceful spot, but obviously not. So turn that off. I thought I'll find somewhere in the country where it's very quiet, but you're guaranteed these days you can't really find anywhere that's totally quiet unless you find a closed road. But got transmitting aerials there. I believe they're Mercia Sounds. I'm in Paleton at the moment. No, I'm not. I'm in Widdeybrook, which is very close to a place called Paleton. I'm in Widdeybrook, near between Shilton and Widdeybrook. A little choice to it all needs a clean now. It's exposed all the areas that were open to never being cleaned because it was covered in fairings. So I've got some cleaning work to do here and there. But there you go, folks. Some people won't like it, some people, well obviously I know that's a bodge what's holding the clocks for the moment, but that's just to keep me going till me new clocks, and I've fabricated a bracket. So the horn needs cleaning because that's been hidden away beyond the fairing. Little things to tart it all up. But you get the picture. There you go. Thanks very much for looking, everybody. You all take care. And when I've got my clocks and fabricated a new bracket, then I'll show you part 4 to come in the near future. Thank you, take care, bye.